federal government just released Build Canada Homes, a plan to unlock public land and fast track thousands of new homes in Ottawa. Give me 30 seconds and I'll circle the 5 zones most likely to break ground first. LeBreton Flats, Tunney's Pasture, Confederation Heights, Waterbridge Village, and then last, Tremblay Road. And I'm going to lay out the 3 proof points that turn this from a press release to construction site, land transfer, request for proposal, and servicing dates locked in. If I can't show you how this will cool some bidding wars in Ottawa and steady rents by 2026 leading into 2027, I'd turn the video off right now. But if I can, you'll see the exact next move you need to make in the Ottawa market, whether you're buying, selling, or investing before the rest of the city catches on. So here are the essentials. The federal government created Build Canada Homes, a delivery-focused housing agency with approximately $13 billion of initial capital by the feds, a mandate to unlock public land and to partner with private builders and not-for-profit housing providers, to scale industrialization construction such as modular building and mass timber. Leadership has been named, including a seasoned housing lead as chief CEO. And the mission is clear: accelerate the supply, especially near transit, and deliver a meaningful share of purpose-built rentals and attainable home ownership, something we really desperately need in Ottawa. That's the headline. Now, why this matters? Well, headlines do not build homes. We all know that. Solving the bottleneck does. Ottawa's logjam simply boils down to 4 areas. They're all D's: dirt, dollars, delays, and delivery. Build Canada Homes targets each and every one of these. So let's break it down. Number 1, dirt. Put the right land in play. Land cost kills projects early on, and they just don't even get started. When the federal government contributes public land or long-term ground leases for housing, the development math finally makes sense. Think of places already on everyone's radar, like LeBreton Flats. There's tons of conversation right now about the Sens moving down in that area, Preston, Little Italy. Like, it's prime time for that. Honey's Pasture, just south of that, where all of those big government buildings that just are not being used anymore post-COVID. Other areas, Confederation Heights, Waterbridge Village, are the former Canadian Forces base in Rockcliffe, or the Tremblay Road area. With land offered up front, projects do not die in the spreadsheet stage. They actually take life. That's the biggest concern for developers, is like acquiring the land and finding the right piece of real estate. It doesn't matter what size of developer you are, or even homeowner. It always comes down to location. And this means everything for investors when they're putting millions and millions of dollars into these projects. They need to have excellent locations. And with the feds opening up some of this land that they have, it should really allow for more development to take place sooner rather than later. So number 2, dollars. Cheaper, patient capital. Early money is the riskiest and most expensive, because who wants to lend on that? It's just a concept. It hasn't been proven yet. Well, Build Canada Homes provides lower cost, longer horizon financing and credit support so builders can launch phases with sensible pre-sale thresholds. So meaning they can start pre-selling their product before it's actually complete. This reduces tons of the risk and gives confidence into those private lenders that are coming on early in the gate. Number 3, delays. One-door coordination. Delays. So time kills deals. Great sites get stuck between planning approvals, utilities, and servicing. The edge here is sequence. So matching land release to pre-agreed timelines, utility servicing windows, and standardized documentation. If the City of Ottawa locks in service level agreements on zoning and site plan for priority parcels, you shave off months, if not years, in the whole process. And number 4, delivery. Build smarter, not just more. Ottawa needs throughput, not just starts. Build Canada Homes can underwrite industrialized construction, modular, panelized, and mass timber. So framing arrives like clockwork. It's almost like Lego. It comes in, crane, click, click together. Well, not that fast, but you get the concept. It's not slugging away for weeks and weeks and months in the elements we have in Ottawa. It's just a better way to build property, faster way to get property built on timelines. Combine that with bulk procurement and predictable site sequencing. See, a lot of this comes down to like the sequencing and the process of getting this all built and timelines and delays. But if they can speed up that whole process, it should move much faster. More homes, quicker, with fewer supply shocks. So how does this show up in the Ottawa real estate market? Well, for buyers, more listings near light rail transit, like we're talking about Tunney's Pasture, right there, the LRT station, or LeBreton Flats. You'll be seeing properties like stacked townhomes, mid-rise units in the range of around $550,000, probably right up to $900,000. For sellers, what to expect? Well, short-term construction dust, long-term amenity lift. I hear the word lift all the time now for sellers. They're looking for that increase on their investment. What's their return? Presentation and pricing will still matter. So making sure you're priced appropriately based upon the current data at that given point. For investors, clear phase maps and requests for proposals calendars will help you position small multiplex or gentle density plays inside the walking distance of these areas. Let us get specific. Ottawa has multiple federal or federal guided sites where Build Canada homes can simply plug in. I want to group them down from most ready to take off to maybe least likely. So number one, the active master plan federal land. So these would be LeBreton Flats, guided by the NCC, multi-phase transit oriented, as I shared, right near the LRT, so the light rail transit network already built in Ottawa. Current phases are moving along. There is a long runway of additional parcels of land that can be added onto this. Build Canada homes can accelerate the phasing and expand affordability. As I shared, Tunney's Pasture, led by the Public Service and Procurement Canada in partnership with Canada Lands Company and NCC. The plan transforms a federal office space campus into mixed-use neighborhood on light rail line. Like Tunney's Pasture, if you're not familiar where the location is, it's like Scott Street and Parkdale. It's a massive chunk of land. I'm going to say like acres, probably hectares of land, right close to the Ottawa River, easy walkability to Wellington West. You have Hintonburg and Westboro. So from an appeal perspective for the end users, for the homeowner looking to buy the property or the tenant looking at moving in, what's the appeal? Well, it's there. It's not just a brand new property with great timelines and all of this easy access on capital. It's more, you're building a product that will be easily bought up. And that's what these developers are really looking for. I work with tons and tons of investors, and they always start with the end in mind. They reverse engineer the entire process. What is our end game? Like, what is our plan on this? Well, we want to maximize profit and sell it for the most we can. So how do we do that? We get the property in the perfect location, one where there will always be demand. And I don't know about you, but Westboro is not going anywhere. If only it's getting bigger and better with other retail shops and boutiques that are coming in. Another area, Confederation Heights, led by Public Services and Procurement Canada and Canada Lands Company, with a new City of Ottawa secondary plan that's just being released now. So it's going to mesh really well with Ottawa's revamped secondary plan, which hasn't been looked at for a long time. This area is just south of the Ottawa corridor. So it'd be sort of like Riverside Drive, Heron Road, Brookfield area. It's being prepared for a mixed use community with several existing buildings flagged to be reused or redeveloped. This is prime land. The next area would be public land listings that are ready for building. So Waterbridge Village, which is the former Canadian Forces base in Rockcliffe, led by Canada Lands Company, a multi-phase community already delivering homes, streets, and parks. Multi-parcels are posted or are in motion to be cleared for development. The Booth Street Complex. So again, Little Italy, right near Tunney's Pasture, former NRCA campus, right near Preston Street in Carling. This heritage facade plus new density offers so much opportunity. Details are still a bit limited. However, the geographical location is really attractive in my opinion. Next would be transit serviced federal sites to watch out for. So as I shared at the beginning, the 5 areas, the 5th being Tremblay Road and around that proximity. Large federal holdings with past mixed use intentions. With Build Canada Homes, a housing forward reset is about to take place. And if you can get in front of that and lean into some of the content that I'm putting out here and read up on the Build Canada Homes project, I think you will be pleasantly surprised the return you'll see in, say, 5, 8, 10 years from now. Additional surplus of federal office space in the Ottawa portfolio will come out. As hybrid work settles in, now that we're post-COVID, many properties are not being used like they were 5 days a week. So the government is looking at this and trying to solve that bottleneck that we have right now on the housing side. The bottom line, all of these areas are serviced by light rail transit, something that the city of Ottawa has been big proponent of over the last number of years. They're master plan communities and are already moving through the federal public land pipeline, which is half the battle. Expect thousands of homes over time, with the largest gains in purpose-built rental and mid-rise stacked homes for home ownership. So when does this hit the Ottawa real estate market? Well, what to expect? So in the next 0 to 12 months, agency build out, site due diligence, memorandums, and understanding how this really marries up with the City of Ottawa's new zoning. Then the next 12 to 24 months, utility servicing and enabling works on the most shovel-ready sites. As I shared, there's a number of areas that are being suggested. So what is going to happen is what sites are ready to be serviced first? What is the most demand? And they'll start with that and just work backwards from there. So the first request for proposals will be awarded out and tendered. Then 24 to 48 months and beyond, the first substantial completion will be seen. The difference this time is that the public land and lower cost capital will be front loaded at the beginning. So for the end user, so for the buyer, what to expect? Way more choice between $500,000 and $900,000. Stacked townhomes, mid-rise condos, all near light rail transit. New builds, keeping a quality premium warranty and energy performance. So you're going to get a brand new house with the full Tarion warranty. Tarion warranty is the governing body for any new property that is built in the province of Ontario. It's a 7-year warranty. It tiers down from there. The first year or two, it's on pretty much anything that goes wrong in the home. But then as you get closer to that 7-year, it's more on the structural side of it. But this is going to add so much more homes to the marketplace for buyers to buy that aren't going to get stuck with older property built in the 50s, 60s, or 70s. And you're going to get into like trying to fix roof or windows or furnace. Like you get into a brand new house, you can essentially live there within reason for the first 10 years without really doing anything. Major components really start to show their age and need to be replaced once you get into that sort of 12 to 15 year mark. Roof, furnace, AC, windows, you're probably more like 20 to 25. So my point to this is you're getting a brand new property that is essentially turnkey for the first decade that you live there. If modular and massed timber scale as they suggest in this project, occupancy timelines will tighten and pre-sale window will shorten. So what to expect for sellers? Well, within 2 to 3 kilometers of major sites, you'll see short-term construction pain and some friction. However, the long-term amenity uplift and appreciation will be pleasantly welcomed, I'm sure, if you're in that pocket. So in the next 12 to 36 months, plan to stage and price strategically to stand out always as a seller. Doesn't matter if you're selling in 2025, 2026, or back in 2002 when I started selling real estate. You have to price in parallel with the market. And the best way you do is you look at the data. What has sold in the last 3, 6, 12 months? And then you make adjustments appropriate of what your property is on the open market. What to expect for investors? The near-term play is site adjacency. So what I would do is I would look at these different pockets where they're planning on really accelerating this growth and almost do like a string line of a kilometer or two outside of that. And that would be my hot map. That would be my pocket. You want to be close proximity to where all of this construction is going to be happening. On the financing side, you want to be able to underwrite your deal early on and use all of these benefits that are coming down with this bill to make sure that you're getting the absolute best rates. See, that's a challenge with a lot of investors is most of their profit just gets completely swallowed up by borrowing money because they're going to have to borrow from usually private lenders that are willing to take on that risk on that side. So with all of this federal support meshed and married up with the City of Ottawa's new zoning, it could offer much more favorable terms and a more attractive offering when these investors are out hunting to get the best interest rate possible on borrowing upfront cash on simply a piece of paper. So let's take a look at some of the risks and what to watch for. 4 things will determine how big this actually becomes. Approval alignment. So coordination between the City of Ottawa and Build Canada Homes, so the feds, on zoning, site plan, timelines, and utilities. The next will be labor and materials. Can we lock predictable pricing in today and really have confidence that there aren't going to be supply chain issues, pricing issues, or volume delays in getting the product over here to build? The third, affordability mix. So the balance between deeply affordable homes and middle income attainable homes will shape how quickly rents and entry level prices cool. And fourth, execution culture. So big announcements do not matter. Parcels of land, getting permits, and actually putting the shovel in the ground matters the most. So what to do now? Action guide. Buyers, if you want new construction, watch for requests for proposals and outcomes. This will be your tip on where they're going to start. Get mortgage ready now and decide new build timelines or turnkey resale near transit and schools. For sellers, if you're in those catchment pockets, time your listing before major pre-construction launches. Once all of this property comes on the market, there is going to be a lot more supply. Real estate is just like any market. It's supply and demand. So if there's a lack of supply, demand goes up, you're going to make more money. So just be mindful of that. Construction is good. More demand in that area is good, but more supply is not always the best if you're planning on achieving top dollar, which every seller I know is. For investors, overlay transit and federal land maps. Really dive into where this is going. Target the areas and do that string line, as I said. So to recap, Build Canada Homes is a serious swing at Canada's housing bottleneck. Because it leverages both public land and lower cost capital, Ottawa stands to benefit early on, especially in the areas I shared. Expect a measured ramp. So this isn't going to happen overnight. With the biggest near-term improvements in purpose-built rental and attainable ownership close to LRT. If you're planning a move in 2026 or 2027, this is your playbook to watch, in my opinion. And if you want to see where these changes could reshape the City of Ottawa, check out my new video on Ottawa's new zoning map right here. I'll break down which neighborhoods are opening up for more density and what that means for the future home value in Ottawa.